Michael Jackson's $22 million home. Michael Jackson, or the King of Pop as he was famously known before his demise in 2009, was a mysterious man. You must have heard about his fairy tale home referred to as the Neverland Ranch, but what exactly was in there? In this video, we're going to get into everything you may have wanted to know about Michael Jackson's surreal home. A brief history. The property in which Neverland sits was originally known as Sycamore Valley Ranch. Michael reportedly bought the 3,000-acre property for about $19.5 to $30 million. As fate would have it, he renamed the property to Neverland after an imaginary island that was featured in Peter Pan. Michael then went on to use the property as a private amusement park and also as his home. You're probably wondering why anyone would want to double up their home as an amusement park. Well, if you knew Michael Jackson, then you're aware that he began his singing career very early in life, meaning that he didn't have much of a childhood. He set up the park to make up for the years he'd lost as a child, but as fate would have it, he was to be accused of having a strange interest in children and molesting a 13-year-old boy years later after acquiring the property. Anyway, let's get to the fun part of this video. Here are some facts that you probably didn't know about Michael's home. He bought the property when he was 29. Michael Jackson bought the Sycamore Valley Ranch in 1987 when he was only 29 from an entrepreneur known as William Bone. He would later rename it Neverland Ranch and proceed to live there at the height of his career. Now, the original name of the property came about because it had rolling green hills and magnificent sycamore trees. Michael, on the other hand, named it Neverland from the tales of an imaginary character who never grew up, known as Peter Pan. Michael was often quoted saying that he identified with the fictional character and that he got to relive his childhood in his ranch. The property had a zoo and an amusement park, so we believe he got the chance to do most of the fun things he never got to do as a kid. There was a full-scale zoo on the premises. Yes, you heard that right. When we say that Neverland had a zoo, we mean that you could find an assortment of animals from giraffes to elephants and orangutans. The zoo occupied most of the 3,000-acre property. It may also interest you to know that Michael was notorious for showing off his exotic tastes, especially when it came to wild animals. He spent a pretty large amount of cash in maintaining the wildlife at his zoo. One of the most remembered animals owned by Michael was Bubbles, his pet chimpanzee.
Bubbles would go himself. And he'd sit at the table and he picks up his spoon and his fork and he eats and he's very polite and very intelligent.
His children also lived in Neverland. Michael's 3 children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket, were also part of Neverland at some point in their lives. This shouldn't come as a surprise though, seeing as the ranch was designed specifically for children. Surely the kids had to enjoy all the fun that their dad had going on over there. However, this appears not to have been entirely the case because Paris Jackson, Michael's daughter, opened up to Rolling Stone magazine in 2017 saying that she and her siblings were not allowed to go on rides whenever they felt like it. According to her, they had a normal life like any average child, attending school and getting to enjoy the fun activities at the ranch as a treat when they behaved as expected. There was a train on the property. We've already stated that the Neverland Ranch is about 3,000 acres. That's quite a lot to be walking on foot if you need to get around the property. That's why Michael had a train for that. Imagine having to walk about a quarter mile from the property's movie theater to the main house. The train station's design was inspired by another one that's found in Disney World. Here's a fun fact for you. The train was named Catherine after Michael's mother. Kim Kardashian spent her 14th birthday at the ranch. The now famous socialite Kim Kardashian celebrated her 14th birthday party at the Neverland Ranch. Perhaps you don't know this, but Michael loved to host events and parties at his home, so it's no surprise that he hosted the party for Kim. At the time, Kim stated that the ranch was one of the most fairy-like places under the sun. It was a venue for Elizabeth Taylor's wedding. Speaking of events and Michael's love for hosting them, he hosted Elizabeth Taylor's wedding in 1991 when she married Larry Fortensky, her 7th husband. Perhaps it's important to mention that Elizabeth and Michael were great friends, so he probably wouldn't have held any random event at his premises. This is further confirmed by the fact that a paparazzi photographer who tried to parachute his way into the property to get pictures of the wedding was promptly apprehended. He once lived there with Lisa Marie Presley. Neverland was not just a home for Michael because he also shared it with Lisa Marie Presley, who was Elvis Presley's daughter. The two wed in 1994, and the following year they hosted 46 kids from 17 different countries during a children's congress for 3 days. Michael and Lisa Marie eventually divorced in 1995, so at that point it had to stop being her home. He never moved back to the ranch after his molestation charges. In an unfortunate twist of events, Michael faced child molestation charges in 2003. After a series of court proceedings, he was acquitted of the charges in 2005. However, he chose not to continue living on the ranch after that, citing that it no longer felt like home. That said, financial hardship can be attributed to his decision not to go back. You see, due to the charges, Michael's success in the music industry was dwindling, not forgetting that he had stayed a long time without recording any music. He ended up defaulting on his mortgage, and this led to a real estate company bailing him out. In 2005, he dismantled the Ferris wheel and carousel on the property and laid off most of the staff. We can say that that was the beginning of the end of Neverland. Let's go into what happened after that. From Neverland Ranch back to Sycamore Valley. After being home to Michael for over 15 years, he defaulted on a loan backed by the property in 2008. But even with that, he was not ready to part with his dream home. Nonetheless, in 2008, an investment firm based in LA known as Colony Capital purchased the property for $23 million and put its title under a joint venture with the legendary star. Unfortunately, Michael passed on in July 2009 after reportedly overdosing on drugs and suffering cardiac arrest. This was barely a year after the joint venture, which then was between the members of Jackson's estate and Colony Capital. Subsequently, the property was put on the market for sale in 2015. Its asking price then was a staggering $100 million, which was understandable given what was on the property and who lived there at some point. However, the estate previously referred to as the Neverland Ranch remained on the market for about 5 years with no buyers. In response to that, it was again listed for $31 million in 2019, but even the huge $69 million price cut did not attract a buyer, which led to the property being taken off the market. Reprieve came in December 2020 in the name of a billionaire known as Ron Burkle. He bought the property for a significantly lower price of $22 million in an off-market deal. It may be worth mentioning that this isn't the billionaire's first tarnished property. Before this, Burkle owned the Blade Runner house, otherwise known as Frank Lloyd Wright's Ennis house, that he sold for $18 million in 2019. The aftermath. With the property no longer considered Michael Jackson's house or referred to as Neverland Ranch, it's now known as the Sycamore Valley Ranch once again. It's a unique property, and you'll be hard-pressed to find another one like it. Located in Santa Barbara County in California, the estate borders the Los Padres National Forest, meaning that it's surrounded by nature. It features a Normandy-style main house that measures about 12,000 square feet and sits between two lakes. It has 6 bedrooms and an attached servants' quarters. All the animals that were on the property are no longer there, and neither is the train. The fire truck, the swimming pool, and the guest houses are still intact. To sum it up, Neverland was magic, and just like all fairy tales, it did come to an end. How do you feel about that? Do you think Michael's family should have ensured continuity of the ranch after his death? Let us know in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. We provide informative and fun content here. Until the next video, it's goodbye from us.